Welcome back to the Unfortunate Diehards podcast. Hashtag 21. Matthew Joseph. We're back to the Sens, guys. Go Sens. Anyways, I'm Evan. Welcome back to the podcast.
Omar.
Omar to my right and
Sufyan
to my left. How are you guys? It's been a while since we've been all in person.
It's been a while, yes. Evan's a little bit of a world traveler these days.
Yes.
World traveler.
Quebec is the world.
To them it is. Wait, what?
Hot take.
Is it though?
Anyways, how are you guys? Sufi, how's life?
Decent. A lot of snow, a lot of cold. I kind of just want spring to come now so I can beat Evan at basketball. And yeah.
It's actually weird because being in Toronto for a bit, there's like no snow there right now, like zero in some places.
It's always like that in Toronto. Toronto's always, every time I go to Toronto in the winter, I was like, where's the snow?
But there's tons here, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's surprising how different it is.
Mm-hmm. It's only like
4 hours away.
Yeah. And Omar,
Passion.
what's up?
Same old. Been really excited.
Same and old?
Oh my God.
Shocker.
For anyone who doesn't know, I've recently turned 29 years old this weekend.
Allegedly.
We're unsure if this is the true age.
Not 42, not 83, not 50, whatever ages have been floating around this podcast. Officially spoken. Actually, this is the first time I'm actually saying it. I've officially turned 29.
Show your birth certificate.
Yeah, we need proof.
So that was this weekend. So we had a fun birthday weekend. Went go-karting.
Solid.
How did you do?
I beat Sufi.
Nice.
No.
Did you beat Ali?
No, he came first actually.
Oh, I was gonna chirp him if he didn't care about our lives.
It's okay. He's probably not listening to this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I see. This is where he
probably
turns it off because we're talking about our lives. But no. Apart from that,
You're wearing a T-shirt that has our thing on it.
yes, I'm representing the Unfortunate Diehards, and we've got a couple of mugs here. And the one he's holding, if he turns around, you'll also see the Leafs logo there.
So I'm going to break
it. But we've got a little bit of merchandise here.
Purely for ourselves.
Yes. We're not selling as of yet. We
need a bigger following,
Yes.
so please follow.
Please follow, like, subscribe so you can get some of these mugs. With
Subscribe to our
favorite
Patreon.
Hit the bell.
Hit the bell icon. Tell all your friends that, we got
Anyways.
shirts and mugs. But Evan, how are you?
Good. Lots of traveling and just got back from Montreal. Was in a couple of big cities around these parts. But happy to be back. Happy to be around my people and excited to talk some hockey in person.
But I think before we start anything, we should give our announcement.
Oh, yes. So, we have been teasing this for a little bit, but finally it is up and running. We have a sponsor on our podcast now, Betstamp. So Betstamp is an app where you can compare odds on different betting apps on a simple app, and you can kind of pick and choose where you'd like to bet. And here's more about Betstamp.
Are you tired of searching through countless sports betting sites to find the best odds and deals? Look no further than Betstamp, the ultimate tool for sports bettors.
Betstamp is your all-in-one platform for sports betting with real-time odds and analysis from top sportsbooks in the industry. With Betstamp, you'll never miss a beat when it comes to finding the best deals and maximizing your winnings.
Betstamp also provides advanced features such as bankroll tracking and betting trends, so you can make informed decisions and stay ahead of the game. And with their user-friendly interface and personalized alerts, you'll always be in control of your bets and never miss out on a winning opportunity.
Betstamp allows you to follow other users to be instantly notified they are tracking their picks. Following winning users in the Betstamp pick marketplace is a great way to find new bets.
So why wait? Download Betstamp now using the code
Diehards.
DIEHARDS and take your betting game to the next level. The odds are ever in your favor.
Awesome. So Betstamps, we're really grateful to have this opportunity. And we also have some picks for you guys. We'll talk about that in a little bit after our teams. And so we'll have some picks that hopefully will win you guys some cash and give you the best odds. So our own teams. I feel like there's been some big news on some teams. There's been some other big news for different reasons and not great play.
Yeah.
And then my team's kind of like doing all right. I don't really know what to think.
Hovering
kind
around.
of been the same.
Yeah, been the same. Yeah, I would say the Sens have been what they've been.
But
playoff spots still disappearing day by day,
well,
getting
no.
further away. It seems.
No.
I don't.
But we can start with the biggest news being the Toronto Maple Leafs. And, they've had probably the biggest news in the NHL over the past week and a half. Omar, take it away.
Well, if you saw our post on Instagram and TikTok, the details of the trade were laid out there. So if I'm not, I'll go over them again. I don't have them pulled up if anyone. But we've got Ryan O'Reilly and Noel Acciari to the Maple Leafs in a 3-team trade involving obviously the Leafs, the St. Louis Blues, and the Minnesota Wild. Going the other way to St. Louis is please.
Okay, so Toronto receives O'Reilly, Acciari, and Josh Pilar. I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
St. Louis receives Adam Gaudette, Mikhail Abramov, 2023 first from Toronto, 2023 third-round pick from Ottawa. Well, that was Ottawa's. And then second-round pick from Toronto in 2024. And then Minnesota gets a fourth-round pick from Toronto. So essentially, St. Louis retained 25% of the salary, and then Minnesota retained 50%. And all they got out of it was a fourth-round pick. But they just wanted to be involved, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, so... Okay, in my opinion, there's 2 ways that we can break this trade down. And the 2 ways are, number one is talk about the price the Leafs paid for these players, which is obviously a huge topic of conversation in the last week, the price that O'Reilly and Acciari costed, mainly O'Reilly pretty much. And the other thing is, how does this impact the Leafs, and was it the right move for them considering the whole season as a whole, and considering what they need for the playoffs moving forward to get over that first-round hump? And then we can talk about, do we think this gets them over the first-round hump?
It's more of a you question than us.
But anyway, let's start talking about, obviously, everyone knows it was not a cheap price to pay. Giving up those picks, especially a first-round pick, which in any year is always going to be at least a player that's going to be impactful within a few years. But yeah, so what do you guys think about the price anyway?
I personally think it was worth it. I think this is, in my opinion, exactly what the Leafs needed. Like, acquiring a right-handed defenseman is like impossible nowadays. So to get a center that can go into your top 6 or middle 6, whatever they feel necessary, and then Noel Acciari probably also being like a third liner. He's probably like a worse Michael Bunting. I think that was a really good price because I feel like their bottom 6 is kind of what maybe separates them. Like if Nylander, Matthews, Marner aren't scoring, whether that's in the regular season or playoffs, which I think playoffs is more important. So you have those guys that have experience, that have been on playoff runs, that are still good, evidently, with Ryan O'Reilly having 4 points the other night in a hat trick, that can contribute up and down the lineup. And I think that this trade gives them incredible center depth as well. So for me, I think this was the right move. I don't think it was too much to give up. I think it was quite reasonable, especially getting 2 pieces back instead of just Ryan O'Reilly. It can plug into the lineup. And I don't even know if they're done. So it'll be interesting to see how this all kind of works out and how it gels. But I think this was the right move, in my opinion.
In terms of getting over the hump, I don't think their team was ever like on paper, this team shouldn't be a team that lost in the first round the last 3 years. So I don't think this really changes much for me. I'm like, okay, on paper, this team should get past the first round. It's just a curse. That's the whole joke about the Leafs, right? So, but the price they paid, the thing is, I think every party in this came out of it well. I don't know what the implications were for Minnesota. Maybe it helped them out too. But St. Louis got all they definitely got more than they got more than I thought they would for O'Reilly, but I don't think Toronto paid too much, because if you think about it, even if O'Reilly isn't what he was a couple of years ago, and that's probably because of injuries and stuff like that, he's still a pretty good player, and you're paying $2.5 million for him. That the fact they got the cost down that much is why they paid the first round pick, second round pick, whatever. So I think just based off that, they're good on the price they paid for it is good. What St. Louis this is the first trade that I've seen in a while that's an A grade for both teams.
Yep.
Right. And honestly, I think Noel Acciari is also a pretty underrated part of this, because I think the problem with the Leafs bottom 6 was that we didn't recognize half the players that were playing on it. Noel Acciari is at least like he would be on a lot of teams' bottom sixes.
Yeah.
And like he'd be playing for them.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely an underrated part of that. And then like the prospect they gave up, not a huge deal. He could turn into something, but probably not like anything crazy. And then, the first round picks are what I've said before about Dubas is that he needs to move on for them for this team to like do anything, because it's like kind of now or never for them in the next year or two. And then after that, we don't know what's going to happen. You got a ton of expiring contracts, a ton of big expiring contracts, not just small ones. And then like this team's not even going to look the same in a couple of years. So it's now or never for them. So I definitely love this trade for them.
Yeah, I would say the same. I feel like the draft picks right now, they don't mean as much to a team like Toronto, who needs to win, and their window to win now has really closed. They don't have the 4 or 5 years they did 4 or 5 years ago. They only have this year and maybe one more to make something happen. So this is essentially them just taking a shot at it, and it's, I would say, one of the biggest trade deadline acquisitions they've made ever since I don't think like Nick Foligno's trade comes close to this. I don't.
They traded a first round pick for him.
They did trade. Yeah, they
weird.
they traded a first round pick for him, which wasn't the. But like, this is more of, I think, from a standpoint of impact. Whereas the other guys, like if you go back in the Matthews, Marner, Tavares era, they've gone back and they've gotten Nick Foligno. They've gone back and they've gotten Alex Plekanec that one year. Thomas Plekanec. Thomas Plekanec that one year. Then obviously last year they had gotten Giordano. While all these, and it seemed like they were going for these veteran presence to kind of help these young guys out and help them over the hump. But like right now what they've done is they've gone after Ryan O'Reilly, he's won a cup, but he's still impactful in terms of scoring and his ability on the ice. They have Noel Acciari, who's impactful in a bottom six role. And I could see these two guys actually coming in and helping in the playoffs. When it comes to the playoffs, like, depth scoring has been zero for the Leafs. And depth has gotten worse than last season.
Yeah. So
this was much needed. I know a lot of people like to talk about the Leafs in terms of they need a defenseman, they need another top 4 defenseman, that kind of thing. And that I'm sure it's I do agree that another defenseman would help, but I feel like this need was more to help them, especially in the playoffs. So I like that they went for it. Also, to note, Dubas doesn't have a contract for next year yet.
That is, for him, as do or die this year.
Exactly.
Because this team might have a couple of years, but he only has this.
Yeah. So if he didn't do anything, like he knew he had to do something because he doesn't have a contract yet. And obviously, right, he would have got a contract by now if they were sure about it. So they're obviously looking to see what happens in the playoffs.
100%, yeah.
To give him a contract or not, to move forward with him. So he's giving it his all, which I think is necessary. Yeah. Which is why I like this trade.
Yeah. It's definitely the best veteran that they've acquired over the past couple of years. Like, and evidently, like you said, the most impactful. The question I have right now that you just kind of brought up is, do you think if Kyle Dubas is gone, does he get a contract immediately from someone else?
I don't think so.
Immediately, I don't think so. Do I think he can get a contract at some point? Maybe, because he has put up a good regular season team for the last few years. So like, sure, like he's shown that he's capable of like bringing in some high end players. He's done it. Like, he's brought in Tavares. He's got in O'Reilly now. And he's able to like, and he's done, I would say, a decent job at being able to secure the talent the Leafs had, like Nylander, Marner, Matthews. Yeah, you can talk about the pricing that's there for them and all that, but he's managed to make it work to give these core guys what they wanted to stay for this much time. It's just he's never gone out of the first round.
It's a bit different for GMs than coaches. Coaches, I feel like if they've been around for long enough, they can get a contract like decently easily.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same for GMs. I think he's more likely to become like an associate or something like that, like an assistant GM.
Yeah, chances are, I could see that happening as well. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I see him.
Eventually, maybe.
Like off the bat, if we were to say right now, let's say he doesn't get extended by the Leafs this summer. Who is right now another team that's looking for a GM like right away?
Every team has a GM, right? So it's just
like who do you think?
It just depends what teams like,
change.
But I'm saying in the offseason, like there could be 3 or 4 other teams that get rid of them, and I think
that could be like
to me at least, if that does happen, I think Kyle Dubas is probably the front runner to get a GM position somewhere else out of the guys that may be fired. Because I'm assuming like guys that like Lou at Lamarillo or like Dave Poyle or whatever, like they're not going
Even
anywhere.
Vancouver, maybe.
So like I could definitely see him
San Jose
going somewhere else and then getting like like over other people a contract more easily. I don't know. I just feel like he's done a good job, and it's not his fault. Like losing Game 7s aren't necessarily the GM's fault. Like he's put together, like you guys said, a phenomenal team.
Yeah. It's his philosophy that would come in question, because his biggest criticism right now is, despite the team he's put on the ice that's been successful in terms of regular season anyway, his philosophy has been to put his money on these main guys and win with them. Yeah. And that's the philosophy that people criticize, like, hey, you can, and every time they're out in Game 7, what are they saying? Hey, you can't just win by putting your money in 4 guys. And that's the thing, that if again that happens this year, I think it's going to nudge against him.
The problem is, though, like it's also just being in Toronto.
Yes.
Because you have to pay those guys more to stay there.
Yes.
Right? Like Tampa is top heavy, but they have so much depth because they're paying guys like Kucherov $9 million.
Yeah.
And like point around the same, right? It's like you're not paying Marner and Matthews that much. You're paying them like a combined 22, and then you had 3 players at 33. Like there's no way that they would be getting paid that much in a place like Tampa.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like I was gonna bring up the Brad Marchand comment saying like you're like to go to Edmonton, people aren't taking less to go there. Like if you're in somewhere you really enjoy living, you might take less, or if there's no state tax, then you could take less. But places like Toronto, Cali. That's the thing. Like to kind of defend Dubas a little bit, it's those guys aren't probably going to take less. Like you have Giordano taking less, but like he's probably from the Toronto area. He's older. He's made his money. It's like at that point, does it really matter? Like Spezza again, like he took less at times, but you know, these young guys who want to make their money, and they're like essentially they could pull an Adam Fox and play where they wanted, but to be in Toronto in that like crazy hockey country, it's like you have to pay them a lot just to stay for a while. So I don't know. I feel like Dubas is actually like, I kind of like him.
Oh, I love him. I would be really sad to see him go, because I personally think he's done a good job.
I do think that he has to go, though, at some point. Like if it's another first round loss, then you can't really defend keeping him. As much as you like, I do agree with you guys. It's just something has to change. And like, yes, you can blame being in Toronto, and I fully agree with that. It's just then something like you have to change the philosophy, right, to fit Toronto, which he refused to do. Yeah.
See, the other thing he's taking a risk on this year is, you know, the goalie tandem he's going with into the playoffs. Like that's a big risk, you know, again, in a contract year where you need a contract, like to put your money and come out and clearly say that he's not looking for a goaltending change when you have 2 unproven guys like Samsonov and Murray, both who either like on either day they both could just completely crap out and just.
Which they have multiple times.
They have multiple times, right? Yeah. So who's to say that? I mean, what playoff experience does Samsonov really have? And the playoff experience Murray has been so long ago, and he hasn't been informed since then.
Samsonov's playoff experience wasn't good.
Exactly. So,
But
so
like,
that's still a big question surrounding the Leafs, and it's going to be, I think, for every Leafs fan, it's the biggest.
That's the crutch.
The biggest worry.
Can you play a series against Tampa and expect to win?
Because I mean, every night you're having Samsonov against Vasilevsky or Murray against Vasilevsky, whichever one starts. But like,
and then the offenses cancel out.
Yeah, and the offenses cancel out. So at some point, like, do I think Samsonov or Murray are gonna play 7 games in a series and play good every game? Like right now, I don't think so, because they haven't shown that they can go 7 in a row in the season without messing up, right? So again, he's taking a shot with these goalies and he's saying he's not gonna improve that position.
That's the toughest part, because if they play Tampa, it's like very hard for me to, like, even with the first round history, it would be very hard for me to go against Tampa in that series, because the offense is so close for me.
Yeah.
And like Tampa has the exact top end talent that they do, plus way deeper.
Yeah.
In every facet, and then the defense is just like not even close.
Yeah.
So
and goaltending.
It's just, and it's pretty much set that they're playing Tampa.
Yeah. Like,
So you got to prepare for that, and
it's just a matter. At this point, it's just a matter of home ice. But
especially if Murray's hurt going into playoffs, and he doesn't play playoffs, then you literally just have Samsonov.
Yeah, exactly. And Joseph
Wool.
Wool, who, by the way, is quite good. Like I
He
think
put up a lot of AHL numbers.
yeah, he's put up good AHL numbers.
He's put up a lot of AHL numbers.
A lot of numbers there.
yeah, and he's had
Dubas likes.
he's had some good games with the Leafs up as well. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him get some more games in the stretch run here, just to see what he's at. Yeah.
The only thing to kind of go against my point earlier, I don't know why I'm arguing with myself essentially, but bringing up the big contracts, Nylander I think is a steal right now.
Oh,
and,
steal, yeah.
you guys can all agree.
Yeah.
But it's the 3 around 11 million, which is interesting because you had to pay them more. But when you look at, and Toronto's different. Like Toronto is probably the most crazy hockey place.
Yeah.
But, well, maybe other than Montreal, they're both there.
Yeah.
But when you look at other Canadian teams, if you want to just use that as an example, you got Draisaitl at 8.5. You have like Stützle at like 8.3. You have guys like Scheifele at like 6.5 or something like that. Every other team in Canada, and Canada is probably one of the least fun places to work.
Yeah.
They have steals on multiple players, or like they sign them early. Where I kind of it's weird thinking like, okay, all these other teams got these like star players kind of younger at a big price point still, but like not 11, 10, whatever, other than McDavid, but he's worth it.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying those, like I wouldn't say Matthews and Marner aren't worth it, but it's why did they get those giant contracts when other players of like similar-ish standards got like $2, $3, $4 million less than them?
Look at Vancouver, bro. Like Vancouver with Pettersson. Pettersson's like top 5 in points, and he's making 6, 7.
So
Hughes,
I think a big reason that Matthews and Tavares got that money is because Matthews and Marner got that money is because of Tavares. Because their contracts weren't signed until after Tavares came in, and Tavares came in at 11 million. So if right off the bat, if you're Marner or Matthews, you're thinking if Tavares is getting 11 million,
those contracts were right out of their ELCs, right?
They were out of the ELCs, yeah. But the 28, so 20, like Tavares free agency signing was before their contracts were renewed, right? Yeah. First came Nylander, first of all, I think.
They got him at a good season,
and he obviously had that half season of sitting out before getting his contract, which we all remember. And then came Matthews. Matthews was pretty fast because obviously, you know, he needed the 11 mil. If Tavares is getting 11 mil, like there's no way you're going to give Matthews less than Tavares. So that was a quick 5-year 11 mil, and making it a 5-year contract helped in the sense that after 5 years we'll give you more kind of thing. And then Marner was another difficult one, but again, Marner being up there at the same caliber as those players. Bro. Exactly. Yeah. So again, being at the same caliber of those players, he demands similar money.
Do you think if they didn't sign John Tavares, they probably could have gotten someone else in free agency eventually or via trade, whatever, that would have saved you money on those 2 other guys, and then you guys would have a better depth?
Oh, I think 100%. I think 100% if Tavares wasn't signed, Matthews and Marner would have come in around 9-10 million.
Tavares is the big... Yeah, like he's the one that changed the whole dynamic of that team.
Exactly,
because changed it. Yeah, because it's not even Marner. Marner's and Matthews could have still been making the same amount of money.
Yeah,
but you're just like, I don't know if Tavares was ever playing to a level where you could justify 11 mil at that time.
Yeah,
right. But the thing is, like any other team would have came in and done pretty much around the same.
Well, he took a discount.
Yeah, exactly.
Toronto.
So
like San Jose offered
you had to do
more.
it. If you wanted Tavares, you had to do it. It's just the question of how necessary was it to get Tavares?
Yeah.
I think that they could have been a better team without Tavares, personally. Like, they could have done more with that money and spent it somewhere else and been better without Tavares.
Yeah, which is, I think a lot of people have that argument. Yeah.
Which is, it's not even against Tavares. It's just the money factor, right?
It's just the money factor,
You have 3 players that
the depth would have been a lot.
You have 3 players that are already really freaking good and can carry an offense. Do you really need Tavares there? Like, you just don't get another player that's like a 60 to 80 point player for way less than that.
Yeah.
And for the majority of his time there, Tavares has been a 60 to 80 point player.
Yeah.
So, and he's not like special defensively or anything like that either, right? So,
I don't know. His big thing is the face-offs. Yeah. Which is
kind of teetering off now.
Yeah. But so that's an argument people are going to have. So, Tavares coming in did definitely shift the dynamic of that team. And it was Dubas' first year, as it was right after
was that a Dubas contract?
went. That was Dubas' contract.
Okay.
That was Dubas' first contract. So we can't forget that
Damn.
Lamoriello had left, and Dubas got the job over Mark Hunter, right? Yeah, Mark Hunter, and then his first big splash was getting Tavares. So that was, a huge win. Again, like I said, I never look at that as like a negative thing.
It's not a bad thing. I'm just saying it could have been a lot different.
Yeah, because
right?
I think Leafs fans who look at that as negative now, like they have we all have, I guess, hindsight is a thing, obviously, but like when you're in 2018 and we all got the news that the Leafs signed John Tavares, like there's not one fan who was like not happy.
Yeah,
there's not one fan who wasn't ecstatic about that. So that feeling and that first season of Tavares all encapsulating, like Tavares was, it was a high point.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah,
any team would have signed him for that much money.
Yes.
So it's not what happened after is kind of just
what happened.
Yeah. But hindsight is 2020. Because if you do go back and like get two players at like $6 million, who knows?
Exactly.
If you want to, this is just me being hilarious. So Tavares has 60 points this year, making 11.
Yeah.
Claude Giroux has 53 and makes 6.5.
Yeah.
And look at Pedersen.
Well, I was just picking two older players,
right?
That's why I did that. I don't know. It is interesting, but is there anything else you wanted to add about the Leafs before we move on?
Well, I guess we want to talk a little bit about do we think this is the deal that can take them over that first?
That's a question. That's an unanswerable question.
I think
yeah.
For some reason this year, I don't know if I said it on the podcast before, but every other year I'm like, they have a good team, but I know they're going to lose. This year, their bottom six was worse, and for some reason, it would make sense for them to be worse and then lose in the playoffs even easier. But I feel like that didn't, for some reason, because the Leafs don't make sense. That is opposite, so they wouldn't make it past the first round. And then with this trade, I don't know. I feel like this. I don't want to say it, but like I feel like it could be the year.
It could be
but
the
it's
year.
also hilarious that they're almost definitely playing Tampa, and that's tough.
That's my thing.
Yeah.
I don't think they're good enough to beat Tampa.
Okay.
Like just straight up on paper, I don't think they're good enough to beat Tampa.
But if they beat Tampa,
if they beat Tampa,
but then they might have to play Boston.
The East
You guys have a tough road if you do make it past.
Bro. And the thing is,
and then
like,
Carolina maybe.
Yeah.
What teams am I taking over Toronto? And there's definitely 3 of them, and maybe 4.
Yeah.
So and they're all slightly top heavy, but they had the ability to go get a goalie that's significantly better, defenseman. I just don't see Toronto getting past any of them to go to the finals. First round, it'd be something to beat Tampa. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
With Samsonov in net, I don't know.
Hey, you never know. Maybe Ottawa squeezes in. You see us in the second round.
Which would be harder for them.
Or maybe Washington. Our teams are both
no,
flirting.
We're not going to the playoffs.
I feel like Toronto's been doing pretty well lately. So, and that was the big news. So we can talk about some big news in kind of a different area, but with a goal scorer as well. So Sufi's team has been missing their goal scorer in Alexander Ovechkin. His dad has passed away, so we send our condolences to him and his family and anyone else affected. And so, Sufi, if you want to talk about your team or how, if you want to talk about Caps land or that and how that maybe has affected your team as well.
I think his last game was the Boston game, which I was oh, we're not going to win this game at all. And then we won 2-1. And I was like, wow, things are looking amazing. Maybe this is where we break off this like win-loss. Instead, we lost 5 in a row. And Ovechkin left the next game after that Boston game. But I think it's no surprise that a lot of our goal scoring is rests on Ovechkin. But the fact that I think most of the games, aside from one of the 6 games or one of the 5 games that we lost, we scored more than 2 goals. Other than that, it was 2 or less. And it just shows how much Ovechkin heavy we are. But it also, for me, is I think that the fact that I'm saying this is wild, but if we do sell players, like a lot of our older UFAs or whatever, I think that'll help us win more games. And that's going to be just a wake-up call for Laviolette, hopefully. when he has to put Snively in the lineup, when he has to put McMichael in the lineup, when he has to put Protas in the lineup. Those 3 players should be in the lineup right now over at least 2 or 3 of the guys. So if they have to be taken out and traded for that to happen, by all means. But we get Ovechkin back tonight, which is huge. Mantha's injured now. And Ovechkin literally flew back from Russia yesterday, had 1 skate, did a morning skate today, and he's playing again after not even being active for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I think it shows how much he wants it. He's not going to give in on the season just yet. We just got Wilson back too, and he's looked really good since coming back. I think he's only played 2 games, but he's got goals in both games. And then, so now with Mantha coming out too, I think that opens room for hopefully Snively. And Snively in the game against, I think it was Florida, goal and assist. He looked absolutely amazing, and then he was a healthy scratch the next game. So I really want him in the lineup. I think that's a big thing for us. Thing is, do I think my hopes for playoffs are becoming less and less? Because there's like 4 or 5 teams that are just way hotter than us right now. One of them even being Ottawa, but like it's not even Ottawa that I'm scared of, right? It's the fact that like Ottawa's there, Detroit's there, who are ahead of Ottawa. Both those teams have like a lot of games at hand on the 3 teams that are ahead of them, like Washington, Florida, and Islanders. And
Buffalo's in there too.
Buffalo's in there too. So there's so many teams there.
Yeah.
Any of those teams can make it. We could get hot, we can make it. But the problem is I don't see that coming. And it's getting very hard to see now. So we need Ovechkin to come back and just be next level good. And I hope he has like a TJ Oshie thing. Like when TJ Oshie's dad died the next game, he came back, scored a hat trick. I hope we see something like that from Ovechkin. He's a very motivated person when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I just,
I was just about to say, if there's any time to bet Ovechkin anytime goal scorer, I feel like they're playing Anaheim, right?
They're playing Anaheim.
It's tonight.
It's tonight.
Maybe even 2+ goals.
I wouldn't be surprised. And the thing is, bro, the weirdest thing is just looking at the power play when he's not playing. It's disgusting. We had oh my God. We had I think it was Wilson,
Trevor Van Riemsdyk.
We had Wilson in the middle where Oshie usually is. Oshie was in the Ovechkin spot. Now I love Oshie, but his shot is like good for like right in front of the net. And the Ovechkin spot is not effective at all. And then we had Gustafsson up top, which again, we haven't had John Carlson for 2 months now. And our team's been riddled with injuries. The fact we're even in this race is wild to me, but regardless, Carlson's been skating too. Hopefully he's back in like at least a few weeks. But that'll help the power play. And then Backstrom and Kuznetsov, Strome, they've all been like kind of rotating on that first power play. But yeah, it's going to be nice to see him at least there. And then it opens things up for us. We'll see what happens. I really hope the lines are good tonight. So you know how they do line rushes before games and stuff, and you can see what the lines are? Laviolette's keeping that a secret for some reason, and he's just like not doing line rushes before the game. He's like, I'm going to pick the lines right before the game. That scares the hell out of me. So we'll see what happens tonight. I really hope I don't see Knack on the first line, but it's a possibility. And yeah, the thing I'm going to say, though, the 3 players that I want to come out for the 3 players to go in that I mentioned, the Snively, McMichael, Protas.
Eller, Mantha, but Mantha's out.
Yeah, and then Eller and Knack. Get those 3 out. Put those 3 in. I think we'll be a much better team. But what do I know?
Fair enough. And in Sen's land, it's going okay actually. I think it's since December or like mid-November or something, we're like 20, 10 and 5 or something like that. But we started like 3 and 12. Mm-hmm. So we are above 500, which is cool, especially being a Sens fan. So I don't know. Recently, it's been pretty good. Like we've been in most games, like even the Boston game. I mean, that was literally made for us to lose. It was a back-to-back. Both our goalies are hurt. We're in Boston. Yeah. Like that's like saying like if I'm on the highway, I'm not gonna get hit by a car. Yeah, okay. We were meant to lose that game.
Bro, that play by McAvoy. Oh my God,
it was
gross.
But it wasn't even like Ottawa wasn't in that game. Like Boston, like Pasternak just
took over.
Like not even took over. He just like scored on his chances where like we had like Batherson, for example, had a couple chances right and tight past like to nobody, just assuming they were going to be there, and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
So honestly, like it was a better game than expected. If we lost 7-0, I would have been like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So being in the game, like being a 1-goal game for most of the game, I was happy with that. But yeah, overall, like Sen's been playing well. Kachuk's on a bit of a heater. Stutzel is on a real heater right now. He was the NHL first star of the week, I think, last week with like 10 points in 4 games or 12 points in 4 games, something crazy like that.
He's been gross.
Giroux has like 22 goals or something. Like I was expecting DeBrincat to be leading of the new guys in goals, but yeah, Giroux's just been really good, and he's like, oh, he's so good. Like Giroux's like the perfect guy that we needed. He's like always competing. He's frustrated when we lose, and like he just really brings that passion. And I think I couldn't be more happy with what he's done this year. I think something else for the Sens is the Tyler Mott trade. Like Tyler Mott is a good player in the sense of like he like tries really hard. He like forechecks really hard. Always like back check. Like, he's a full 200-foot player.
Mhm.
And so we have Julien Gauthier now, who played junior with Chabot and Matthew Joseph. And so he's a big boy. He's like 6'5", 6'6", fast, a lot faster than I thought. So just having that size in the lineup, I think, is good. Like, I know I'm a little all over the place, but like there's been rumblings of like the Sens asked about Colton Parayko. And I'm not saying I 100% want Colton Parayko, but just having like Julien Gauthier as a big body, the Sens don't have a lot of big bodies other than like Kachuk. Like everyone else is like medium NHL sized. Like we don't have just like a Chernak. I would love a Chernak, just being like 6'5", 230. Like no one can move you out in front of the net. And so it'd be really nice to like have like Brandstrom's great. Like Brandstrom has been really good lately. Like he's had really good defensive numbers, really good positioning, especially with Sanderson being out. I think he had like 4 points in 5 games or something. Like, and for him, that's like really good because he's known as like a little offensive dude. But for him to be kind of contributing on both ends with Sanderson out, it's nice. I mean, Sanderson's supposed to be back, and so is Talbot. But I don't know. I'm not getting my hopes up because there's 37 teams in the Atlantic that are about to be in the playoffs somehow.
Or
but
none.
Pardon?
Or none.
Or none.
Yeah.
But it's
just the East.
It's nice to be able like we've had our Sens moments this season where we've been brutal, and I thought it was just like every other season. But it is nice to be in almost March, and you're talking about a possibility of still making the playoffs.
But bro, that conference is just messed up. There's only like 3 teams.
But that's the thing. Like I don't think the Sens will make it. But
bro, there's only 3
any
teams.
of those teams could make it.
There's only 3 teams that aren't competing for a playoff spot right now, and it's bro, there's only 2 because Philly's there somehow. Which I mean, they're not close, but regardless, it's like Ottawa Sabres, Capitals, Red Wings, Florida are all close, but then Florida is like ahead. But Ottawa has games in hand. Sabres have games in hand. Detroit has games in hand.
Like Ottawa doesn't play till tomorrow. They've had like
Caps have a game in hand on Florida, and they're only 2 points back. Pittsburgh is out of the playoffs now, but they have many games in hand. So like there's so many teams that can make it, besides like Philly. So Philly, Columbus, and Montreal are the only ones that are like out. In the West is the complete opposite.
Everyone's in.
Like the playoffs are basically set in the West. It's just Calgary might make a push, and that's pretty much the only team that can like come from the outside in. Everything else is like divisional stuff. Though I do agree with what you're saying about Ottawa. My whole thing was like I was very excited for individual performances for Ottawa, and individually every single player that I've been thinking about has excelled.
Like even DeBrincat, like he has had like legit, I kid you not, at least 10 chances that like almost any top 6 player would have scored. He's just either been robbed, he's fanned on it, he's hit a post. Like it's he was laughing at the beginning when these things were happening. He's like, ha ha. But now literally he's like looking pissed off when it happens because he's like, okay, this is like getting old. This is such a joke.
Yeah.
Like he still has like 18, 19 goals, whatever it is. But for him, he could easily be like mid-20s right now.
Yeah.
And he's not, but he's still getting those chances and stuff. So it's not like he's not creating. He's not in the right spots. He's just really unlucky right now. Like genuinely, like if people want to harp on him for not scoring, whatever, but he still gets those chances, and he's been damn close a lot of times. So
It's not, I don't. There's no complaints about DeBrincat. I don't think.
no, I know.
think
I'm just saying,
right?
like everyone else in the top six
But that's
is like around point per game. I mean, Batherson is like bizarre. He scores only on the power play, and then makes crazy highlight passes and stuff. But I feel like needs to simplify the game a little bit sometimes. Like he's one of maybe my favorite forward to watch. Like maybe other than Stützle. I don't know. I just like them all. But he's fun to watch. But he just does a little bit too much sometimes, which is fine. But
okay, that's enough about the really good top six. We need to talk about
Josh Norris.
We need to talk about the major issue on Ottawa, which for me is a lot of their hindrance, and is the fact that their best defenseman is horrible. And he's playing horrible.
What do you mean he got traded yesterday?
Yeah, Zaitsev, regardless.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Zaitsev also got traded.
Yeah.
So we freed up $4.5 million next year as
happened.
well. So
okay, whatever. What is wrong with Chabot, bro? Why is he playing so bad? And why isn't he like? He hasn't been good like this season. Maybe he's at stretches of like offense that are okay, but like it's like he regressed defensively.
So Riley's better, right?
They both suck. Regardless, like there was that Chicago game was ridiculous, and
Ottawa,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know because Ottawa lost that game, right?
when they shouldn't have.
Okay.
And a lot of that rests on Chabot's shoulders. Regardless, do you see that play in the final in the overtime?
No.
Chabot was on a 2-on-1. He was defending a 2-on-1. Okay, 2-on-1s are hard to defend, whatever. But simplify the game. At least take either the pass or the shot. He just laid down and went away, and then they scored. It was probably the worst defensive like mishap that I've seen this season. And that you're paying a guy $8.5 million, he should not be doing that. $8 million. If it was 8.5, it'd be worse.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what's wrong with them. I think that Ottawa's offense is sick. I think it's great, but the reason that they wouldn't make the playoffs in my eyes over those other teams, and this kind of goes for Buffalo as well, to an extent, is the fact that like defense and goaltending right now is like you gotta have to score a lot of goals to get into the playoffs, which they can do.
Not on 5-on-5.
Yeah, but both of those teams need to be able to score a lot to get into playoffs, and I think that would be their main hindrance. So Ottawa is looking to trade for a defenseman, I guess. We'll see if that happens and how much impact that actually has. But if their team defense doesn't improve, same with Buffalo, I don't think either of those teams are making it. I think of the Detroit, Buffalo, and Ottawa, I'd probably put Detroit as the biggest chance to make it just because their offense is doing good. We played them recently, and their Hussos look great. Their defense core, minus Chabot, is playing amazing. And that Wallman and Sider pairing has, like, analytically been one of the best pairings in the league. And Sider, as soon as he stopped playing with Chabot, has been one of the best defensemen in the league. Like, it's ridiculous how many points that he's had in that time and how well he's played defensively without having that freaking anchor on his team, which we can talk about large defensemen getting signed to contracts for being large being an issue, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I hate large people.
Yeah.
Roman Pollock.
That goes with me saying I really hope Ottawa doesn't trade for Colton Parayko, bro. Because, like, if you're
Can
gonna
I add something about the Chabot thing first?
okay, you're gonna defend it.
No. Well, a little.
Okay.
So this could be a crazy take, but I don't think Chabot is destined to be Ottawa's number one defenseman. I think he's done all right for the past, like, 5 years, whatever it is. But I think Sanderson can be that guy because he plays good defense and only will get better because he's 20, 21, whatever it is. Can contribute offensively and has a phenomenal transition game, better than Chabot in my opinion. Where I think Chabot could be a really good, like, I guess the second pair guy who
I don't disagree with that.
who
The only
is
problem with that
on
is,
your
like,
power play, who gets those like he gets more power play minutes than any other defenseman. He still plays like 24 minutes a game, whatever.
Yeah,
But
rough.
I think Sanderson should get those minutes, but on the penalty kill, more on 5-on-5 than Chabot is, because some games Chabot's playing 30-some minutes. He's on for like every other shift, it seems
Bro,
like,
that's
with
the excuse
whoever.
for so long.
There's
bro.
no, I know. I'm just saying they're throwing him out there
don't-
with anyone. Like Mark Mathot talked about this. It's so important having consistent pairings because you can get used to the tendencies of each other and then just work off of that. He's playing with Holden, Brandstrom, Zaitsev, Hamonic, like anyone, any given night, and so.
Then why is he the problem in all those pairings? He's been the problem in all those pairings.
But I'm saying, like, if he had a consistent partner in, let's just say him and Zub are the second pairing, and then eventually it's Sanderson and random guy we trade for or sign or something eventually. Zub can help with a lot of the problem, especially if they're playing 5-on-5 constantly together, and Chabot's getting more of his minutes from power play and just those minutes just with Zub versus playing with anyone and everyone, as well as like playing in all those like last minute situations or like down by a goal in your defensive zone. That's not what he's built to do.
But that's
Essentially-
but that's my problem, right? This guy's getting paid $8 million. He's getting paid like a top 2 defenseman. And now you're talking about sheltering him and
But
playing
you-
No, but that's
you
what
could-
but that's
So-
what worked for the Carlson Mathot pairing.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
But I mean, Chabot's not Carlson. But
yeah.
the thing is, like, the fact that you have to shelter a guy that's paid to be your top 2 defenseman.
But you could also argue that with like John Carlson. John Carlson is not good defensively, but you have those other guys on your team.
John Carlson has been at a good defensively.
But other years he hasn't been. And so you've had other guys in your core. You've had a better defensive core over the years, changing guys.
He hasn't even had a consistent partner for a long time.
But my point being, you have those other guys who can take minutes away and do other things where they're just relying on Chabot for way too much. Like, he doesn't play penalty kill, and he still gets 30 minutes a night. They're playing him literally almost every other shift, which is stupid.
Bro, this has been his excuse for like.
No,
3
I'm
years,
not
bro. Like,
saying-
he's still
No,
not good.
I'm not saying he's overplayed. I'm saying he should, like, obviously he can play that much, but he should not be playing that much
Okay.
in those situations. They should give minutes to other people because other people can also benefit the team.
That's great, but he's not like he.
It's not his fault though. DJ Smith is putting him out there all the
Bro,
time. If
but-
you put Sanderson's back
Oh my
on
God,
on
man.
Friday, if you put him out there for just honestly, if he played more than Chabot, that would make sense to me.
Fine, but first off, that's not going to happen. And second, like, even if Chabot was playing less minutes, I don't think that would improve his play that much. He's still going to be a consistent turnover heavy guy that sucks defensively.
It would change his play because he's playing less minutes.
So what?
Therefore,
Right.
there's less turnovers,
But
and you have
He's
Sanderson
a high
or
risk
someone.
player, though.
You have
He's a
Sanders-
high risk player. He's
You
gonna
have
make- he's gonna make-
Sanderson or
he's gonna
someone else
make those-
out there.
He's going to make those turnovers regardless of.
Yes,
playing
but
less
then
minutes.
there's less of them.
There's no. Bro, come on. Just because they're playing 24 minutes.
Okay,
and 20
if
minutes,
Ovechkin had 10 goals this year, but still had the same amount of shots,
those are terrible comparisons.
he's
shooting
still playing
percentage.
well. He's still getting
Bro.
his chances, but it's not happening.
Defensively, it's completely different. Like, you're playing 24 minutes, you have one less mistake and 2 less minutes of ice time, but he's still consistently messing up and doing turnovers for no damn reason.
And I've also talked about how he needs to gain weight. He gets pushed off the puck so easy. You just talk like he's literal garbage, like an AHL player.
He is not worth $8 million. That's my thing. He's playing like a good offensive top 4 defenseman. But he's
That's literally what I just said.
okay, fine, but he's not. But why is he? Then I'm saying that's the issue. He's not. He's an issue because he is getting paid like a top 2 defenseman and is being deployed as a top 2 defenseman when in reality he should be paid like a top 4 defenseman and should be playing those minutes when he's not.
I just said this.
Okay, then we're in agreement.
Yes, but you were just saying like, well, he's not playing like that. I know.
He's not.
But
argument
they're playing
is-
him like
my-
that. I agree.
my
Like, he
argument
should not
is-
be playing
Yeah,
like that.
my argument is just that I don't think Thomas Schwab is a good defenseman. That good of a defenseman.
My point was that, yeah, I literally said he should be on the second pair and let Sanderson be the guy
agree
that does
with you.
anything.
I agree with you.
I know. I don't know why you went off.
Well, no, I just say, like, for me, the thing that you're saying that I don't necessarily agree with is the fact that, yes, okay, he plays like, if he played 24 minutes, he'll make less turnovers than if he played 26
I didn't say
minutes.
that. Well, there would be less in total, yes.
Yeah, well, like 1 or 2. Regardless, it doesn't matter. Like, we're in agreement. Just move on.
Anyways, I think that Sanderson
That's like a
should be
head-to-head.
the number 1 overall soon. And I think that
Thomas Chabot should be bought out.
no. And I think
That would help.
that getting that one more defenseman who can hopefully secure the top 4, that everyone's playing with a consistent partner, would help the team overall. So I don't remember where exactly I was saying, but yeah, anyways, Sens, they're doing all right. And it's nice to have a team that's doing all right. So we will do our stat game right now that Omar has graciously found for us. And then after that, we will talk about some of our picks.
All right, so today's stat game is one that I think you guys should be able to get. Off the bat, I'm going to say that. I'm hoping. So it's not terribly complicated or, not like minutes played or this and that, shots on goal kind of thing. It's simple. It's centers, it's goals, and it's playoffs since 2010-2011.
Jeez.
Top 10 centers in goals in the playoffs since 2010-2011
Crosby.
To now.
Crosby.
And I'll give you 3 strikes.
Crosby.
Crosby, is that unanimous?
Sure.
Okay, Crosby's number 6.
Jesus. Malkin?
Maybe.
Keep him on the back burner.
So just people that make the playoffs a lot.
Yeah, but you remember this thing last time.
I know.
bro.
Well,
We need to look at deep playoff runs.
Bergeron.
Yeah.
Maybe Krejci.
Maybe Taves.
I was thinking Taves.
Yeah.
I
I don't know about Krejci.
Well, I'm just putting.
Yeah, played Kopitar.
Yeah. Kopitar.
Backstrom doesn't score.
Does Pavelski scan as a center?
Yeah. Right. Can we ask positional eligibility? Just tell if it's Pavelski is on that thing that you're looking at all. The fact you have to scroll is
He's on here.
Okay.
okay. So it's not Pavelski.
Probably not. I mean, we could just go with those first guys we thought
Ooh. Stamkos.
of. Ooh.
Malkin.
Point, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I could see like recent guys being on this.
Yeah.
Malkin.
Yeah, let's go with Malkin first.
Malkin.
Number 8.
I don't like how far down these guys are.
Okay, so then Kopitar and Bergeron.
Sure, we'll go Bergeron.
Bergeron with 136 playoff games played has 44 goals, making him number 3.
Oh.
Thank you for the stats.
Then do you think Krejci's on that? If he's played 100 and whatever games?
I don't know if Krejci's had that many goals.
Sure, but if he's played enough.
Potentially, we'll keep him there.
Kopitar?
Kopitar, I can see. What was our strikes, by the way? 3.
3 strikes.
Kopitar.
Kopitar.
Okay. He's not on here.
Okay.
He's
Damn.
number 28.
Oh,
The heck,
nice.
Taves.
Taves.
That kind of concerns me.
Pavelski,
Though.
probably not.
Ooh,
Stamkos.
McKinnon. That could be a borderline one. They played a lot of play. If 136, McKinnon has probably played like 60 in the last couple of years. That's what McCarr was.
Is there like any Rangers person?
Derek Stepan.
Yeah, Derek Brassard.
No. What other teams have been there a lot? San Jose has been a
Claude
good team for a long
Giroux.
time.
Claude Giroux.
Getzlaff.
Well, I feel like you could pick a worse guess.
San Jose is like the one that's irking me a little. Because I think Couture could be on there.
Okay.
They've had a couple deep runs. He said it was easy, though.
McDavid.
Bro, if he is, that's impressive. Ryan Smith.
Oh, it's definitely Matthews.
Nah, 1 goal in 7 games.
Shots fired.
Matt Sundin.
Hmm.
Dallas.
Matthews is actually number 38, which is not so bad.
Okay, thank you for telling us that. Tavares, no. Sagan.
Where do you think Taves is?
I think Taves could be in there.
Yeah. When was their first cup? 10?
10.
Oh,
So
then, yeah,
the
probably.
but no, their first cup was 09-10. 10-11 was Boston. This is 10-11?
But they still played Boston in the final, though.
Yeah. Wait, was that? No, that was Vancouver.
This is 10-11.
Oh,
From 2010-11. Yeah.
Yeah. So that doesn't count the 09-10 Cup. So
still could be.
yeah, still could be because they had like a lot of deep runs.
They had 2 more cups after that.
2 more cups and then multiple deep runs until 2016-17.
Mm-hmm.
And he was there. But Kopitar not
But
being there is
44 at number 3.
That's,
If you think someone over the past like 5 years that's done really well in the playoffs,
I think Stamkos.
but he missed the whole playoff run.
He did. Point.
I said that.
You said that.
Stamkos?
Aho. No, they haven't made it.
Let's just say Taves. I feel like that's an okay one.
Taz.
Okay, so Jonathan Taves.
I don't
with-
like how he said that.
Why? With 98 games played in the playoffs
That's a lot.
and 31 goals, puts him at number 12.
Not even tied for
So
like
that's
10.
2 strikes.
This isn't that
no,
easy.
He is not tied
That's a
with
long
number
period
10.
of time, bro.
Okay, 31 is 12.
Couture.
So if we can think of people who've scored more than 31 playoff goals.
You said Pavelski was on there.
Yeah, he did say that.
Couture is on there. Somewhere. Couture's played for a long time. That's my thing. They've had multiple deep runs. Can I look up Couture's stats?
Give me a guess.
Malkin was there. Jeff Carter.
Jason Spezza.
Playoff team in
I feel
Dallas.
like I'm thinking too old.
Jeff Carter.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Actually,
I think that's a good guess.
I don't know if he's missed the playoffs.
I
Well,
don't
maybe
think
like
so.
once or twice.
Because he was with Kings. And then who was he with?
Pittsburgh.
That was recent, though.
But that's it.
Oh,
He was
true.
with Philly way before.
That was Philly way before.
Jeff Carter.
Give me the guess. Jeff Carter,
He's smiling. It's not right.
with 92 playoff games played and 35 goals,
Oh,
puts him at number 10.
let's go.
Wow.
What a guess.
Good guess.
I didn't think that would be the
So
Tyler
what do we
Bozak.
have right now?
So you right now have
Pat Maroon.
Sidney Crosby at number 6. You have Evgeny Malkin at number 8.
Bergeron.
You have Jeff Carter at number 10. And
Bergeron.
Bergeron at number
3.
3.
So we're missing 6, and we have one
One
strike,
strike
so far?
remaining.
Yeah.
Wait, one remaining?
Yeah, because you guessed
Taves.
Taves and
Oh,
Kopitar.
dang it, man.
Those are 2 that I thought would 100% be on.
Well,
just
should we
guessing
throw in the
Getzlaf?
towel now?
Getzlaf.
No.
Krejci.
Okay, can I ask a question?
McDavid.
Sure.
Are any of these retired?
Are any of these retired currently? No.
I think it probably only shows active NHLers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not yet. Not currently. Not retired. I'm just
So
double
it's
So this is
checking.
all of active players.
Couture. I really think Couture's on there.
McDavid could be on there. How many goals did he have last one run?
15 or 16. Has he been in the playoffs like every year, though?
Who are you talking about?
McDavid.
No, but he's made it at least like 3 or 4 years. So if he had 16,
If there was points, I'd probably go him. but-
Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna just don't guess McDavid.
Okay.
okay,
Let's just take you off that train right
shut up, Sufi. That's a dumb idea.
Not Draisaitl. Peg. Wheeler. No.
Okay, so it's Pavelski. It's
Couture.
Couture.
I think Couture is a safe guess.
Okay,
Personally.
that's
Yeah.
yours.
Logan Couture.
Logan Couture with 101 playoff games played
Jesus.
He didn't scroll.
and 44
Let's
goals.
go. I'm on fire.
Puts him at number 2.
Let's go. Who the heck is
Do you think
number 1?
Pavelski he did it as a joke to like
Maybe. But I mean, if Couture
because
has
he
played that
only
much-
played for San Jose and Dallas.
Wait, didn't Pavelski get hurt? Remember when he got like railed and he was bleeding from his head?
Yeah,
Did he come back? I have no
I
idea.
think so. I think Pavelski's a good one.
Sure. Well, I mean, we got Couture for my last one. So
Yeah. Pavelski.
Pavelski
Oh, he scrolled again. Thought you were messing with us.
with 128 playoff games.
There's
played.
no way.
He's not even-
128 playoff games played.
If he has less than 31 goals, I'm gonna punch Omar in the face.
There's no way.
And 49
Yeah.
playoff goals.
So
Number
first.
one?
He's number one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn, the Sharks. Jesus.
Don't do that.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 6, 8, 10.
1, 2, 3, 6, 8, and 10. Yes.
Wow.
Kenny Kuznetsov had a lot of goals in that one playoff run, but I think it was like 7. So
Okay.
no Backstrom. Giroux, no.
I think it's a stall. We didn't say Stamkos or Point.
If we're going one, let's go. Because Stamkos for the first half of his career though didn't really make playoffs.
But he also played like 1,000 games, which is across probably like 13 seasons or something. So if he's made it even 7 times,
But he wasn't there for their.
but he was there for another deep run, a full cup. Let's ballpark. He said had like 10 in each of those, so he's 20.
Yeah.
And then if he made it another like 3 or 4 years, even if he played 1 round in each, that's like 3 goals each time.
Are you more confident in Stamkos or Point?
Stamkos has played a lot longer, so I'd probably say Stamkos.
Okay.
Steven Stamkos.
With 117 games played
Okay, yeah, he's on here.
and 43
He's
goals,
4th.
he is number 4.
Damn, nice.
Point and Krejci could be on here just because they've played so much.
Point, yeah. I guess Krejci too. Wait, what are we at?
You've got in 1, 2, 3, 4 now. 6, 8, and 10.
Point could be like 5, and then Krejci could be 9.
You got 3 more and you got 1 strike. You can do this. You got 3 more, you got 1 strike.
I would go Point, but
Okay, let's go Point.
no,
let's go Point.
Krejci.
Point.
Krejci.
Point.
Which one are we doing?
Point.
Krejci.
I need a unanimous.
Point. I changed my mind.
No, I changed my mind.
Okay, fine. Krejci.
Krejci.
Krejci with 129 games played and 35 goals.
Oh my god.
Oh no, that's tied. That's
Yeah.
That's number 9.
Oh, Braden Point's number 5.
Braden Point.
Are you doing Braden Point?
Sure.
So Braden Point with 76 playoff games
Oh, we messed up.
and 38 goals.
Oh wow. Jesus.
Puts him at number 7.
That's a lot of
Oh
goals.
wait, wait. Are we missing someone still?
6,
Oh.
7, 5.
Oh
You're
my
missing
gosh.
number 5.
We can do this for the first time ever.
You're missing number 5.
Brendan and Liam are shaking in their boots right now because they play along with us.
Calgary? No, that was recent.
Sean Monahan.
No. Number 5. There's no retired, so no Getzlaff. No Thornton.
Gosh.
My wheels are turning.
Oh man, I really want to get this.
Sagan.
Barkov.
Nah, Bart, it's too recent.
I'm just thinking.
Sagan. Sagan's one of my guesses.
You think?
Yeah. Because Dallas has been in the playoffs a lot. And he was in the he only had like 1 goal in the Boston run, but he's been in the playoffs a lot. Jamie Benn. No.
What if it is Claude Giroux?
I don't think so. Because Giroux's deepest run was 09-10.
Could be Nathan McKinnon.
Could be McKinnon.
How many? We did a defenseman one. How many games did Makar play? It was like
60. It was exactly 60.
and he's probably played like more than him, right?
I guess. Colorado was horrible until like 2019. They didn't make the playoffs before that because they had like statistically the worst teams ever.
And when did Makar come? 2020.
Yeah, he came.
So he would have had
COVID year.
He would have had a little bit more experience, and if Braden Point had 38 goals, I feel like
Mac.
he could.
That's the only thing that's like viable to me right now. Everything else is kind of just This is like
Let's shoot.
okay. Mark Scheifele. No. Must be Sagan.
It's gonna be okay.
Mac.
Nathan McKinnon.
Final answer.
Yeah.
Nathan McKinnon
Oh,
with 70 playoff games,
oh God.
Oh.
but 41 goals
Oh,
Actually?
at number 5.
Oh, we did it!
It's our first one.
Oh,
that was
First
intense.
one you guys got.
oh,
I got Jeff Carter before I got Nathan McKinnon.
wow.
So number 1, Joe Pavelski. Number 2, Logan Couture. Number 3, Patrice Bergeron. 4, Steven Stamkos. 5, Nathan McKinnon. 6, Sidney Crosby. 7, Braden Point. 8, Evgeny Malkin. 9, David Krejci. And 10, Jeff Carter.
Who's 11?
Tyler Johnson.
Wow.
Thank God. Bro, I would not have
And then
gotten
number
him.
12 is Jonathan Taves, like you already guessed.
13.
Wow.
Where's Backstrom?
13 is Kuznetsov.
How much?
87 games played, 29 goals.
Damn. Let's go,
Wow.
Kuzi. Well,
Uh,
he was our leading scorer in the points wise in the cup run.
Yeah. Number 14, Patrick Marleau. 89 games played, 27 goals.
As a center?
15 is Jaden Schwartz, and
That's what
16 is Nicholas Backstrom.
Okay, both those last two before Backstrom weren't even centers.
And
Where's Pavelski? Will you second? First.
first, yeah,
Yeah.
Pavelski's first.
Wow.
And getting to number 20, number 20 is Brock Nelson. Number
We
19
the
is
two
Pageau.
big brains together.
Yeah, we needed it. You wouldn't have got this.
You'd have been like,
I could've got
guys, I swear Jason Spetz is on
Did you
there."
think we were going to get like Jeff Carter? Because that was the hardest one, probably.
I mean, I
If Tyler Johnson was on there, we would have lost.
Yeah.
I expected you guys to get all of these.
Carter was tough, though. I don't even know where that came from.
The only one I thought you might not get was David Krejci.
Krejci made more sense than Carter.
Yeah, true. Jeff Carter too. I was like, but I figured you would just because he's had the runs with the
I
LA
feel like
Kings.
you
He's had-
also-
I fully didn't even think that was right.
You also helped us with the Stahl and McDavid thing, but then also you, by giving us the stats, helped,
Yeah.
because then it was like, oh, okay, Bergeron's played this many games.
yeah.
Krejci could. We could incorporate that into just every one. Maybe we could win a few more.
It's
I
good
knew
to give.
San
The,
Jose-
I feel like it's good to give the stats.
Mhm.
Once you guess one, I'll give you the stats. Yeah.
Mhm.
I figured San Jose would be there. I didn't think there'd be 1-2. Especially Couture.
Well, that was pretty fun. That was a big W for the boys.
Doing our
So
picks.
how about now we talk about our Betstamp picks? So each of us has picked a game or something about a game, and we've picked a player as well for you guys to go look up on the Betstamp app, where you can find the best odds for these. And we feel like these are some of the best options to win you some money.
And once again, to download Betstamp, use the code Diehards, which is our podcast code for you guys. And follow the odds with us and see if you agree with our picks.
So now we're going to do our picks of the day, brought to you by Betstamp. So each of us has picked a game that we've found, either a game prop, a money line, whatever, and we'll be giving you our pick. And on Betstamp, you can find the best odds to win the most money while betting. So Omar, you can take it off. Oh no, you can kick it off and tell us what your pick is.
So we're betting on the Friday, February 24th NHL games. According to Betstamp, I've chosen the Los Angeles Kings and New York Islanders game to bet on. I'm picking the Los Angeles Kings to win, and the best odds for this game is through BetSafe, and that's going to be plus 120 on the LA Kings.
So I was looking at some of the games on the 24th, and there were some interesting ones. I was looking at the LA Islanders game. It was pretty interesting. They have an over 5.5, but what I'm going to go for is the over of the Buffalo-Florida game. These are the two of the highest scoring teams in the NHL. Both of them don't have maybe like the best goaltending, but both have really phenomenal forward groups. So I'm going to go over for Buffalo at Florida on February 24th. And the best odds right now, you can always check them as they update, is FanDuel at minus 130. So I'm going to be hammering that one. And Sufi, you can give us your pick as well.
I've changed mine recently. I'm going to go for the team one. I'm going to go Wild versus Leafs. And I'm going to go over 6.5 goals at plus 100 on FanDuel. I think that the Leafs are scoring a lot. Wild have been scoring a decent amount, and both goaltending has been a bit shaky. So I think 6.5 is a decent over. Yeah.
And Omar, I believe you had a player prop for us as well. If you wanted to just double check that one.
Yeah, so the player prop that I am going with is the Minnesota Wild and Toronto Maple Leafs game, and I'm going to be picking Michael Bunting to be anytime goal scorer.
Perfect. So something I was looking at in the same game, because these players are, or the game, sorry, is going to be so high scoring, in my opinion, that I think Matthew Tkachuk will have an anytime assist. So if you want to do anytime point, absolutely go with that. But I'm thinking he's definitely going to have an assist in that high scoring game. So I'm going to do over 0.5 assists for Matthew Tkachuk.
Dang. Okay. I am going to go with we'll go LA Kings versus the Islanders. And I did this one recently, so I'm just going to do it again. And I'm going to do Bo Horvat over 0.5 assists. I feel like with Barzal out, he's kind of the main facilitator in the sense that like it's going to go through him regardless. And they usually have him as a plus odds for assists over goals because he has way more goals than assists. So I'm going to go with that.
Perfect. And now we can move on to talking a little bit about the NHL in general, some of the other trades, maybe potential trades that we think can happen before March 3rd's deadline. And so, yeah, some things I've been thinking about in Sens land is Ottawa's apparently called a lot about right-handed defensemen, whether that's Parayko, Dumba, Uyghur, maybe Tanev, I don't really know, Myers, hopefully not. But someone I'd like to see the Sens trade for is someone from Calgary. I think the size of Parayko is nice. And would I be totally upset if they got him? No, depending on the price. But I think Uyghur being from Ottawa would be really cool as well. And him, yes, having a longer contract, but still probably going to be good for the next 3, 4, 5 years. I think Tanev would maybe be an even better option because he doesn't really need the touches on the puck. And we have a couple guys that already are very comfortable moving the puck. So getting someone similar to like a Zub type player, I'll word it, is I think would be ideal to kind of pair with Sanderson and with Chabot and kind of let those guys be the transition defensemen. So for me, I'm looking at Ottawa to make a move for a defenseman, I would assume. They traded Zaitsev yesterday, giving up a couple picks to move the contract for future considerations to Chicago. So as well, freeing up cap space this year and for next year as well, whether that's going to be for an extension for hopefully DeBrincat or if it's going to be just to free up cap space for a defenseman. But I can also see Ottawa shopping people like maybe Cam Talbot. They might keep him just because Forsberg's injured now, but Austin Watson probably out. He makes $1.5 million. Probably get him out for a low pick for a team that wants to add like a 13th forward. And for me, I'm keeping an eye out on Ottawa acquiring a defenseman that shoots right from the Calgary Flames.
I think Tanev is the best fit. Tanev, though, is like top 5 defensive defenseman in the NHL, like just defensively straight up. So I think that would make up for a lot of issues on their decor. I also think Rasmus Anderson is a bit of a better option. The thing is, Uyghur just signed a contract. I don't even know, like I understand there's like trade conversations around him, but that's just a tougher contract to move in general, right? Mm-hmm. So I think Rasmus Anderson and Tanev are both right-handed defensemen there.
I prefer Tanev.
Personally. Yeah, and I think that would make sense for Ottawa. It's just we'll see how much it costs. I don't know. That's gonna be a lot going the other way for any of those guys. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the other guys, I think Ottawa is going to be one of the more active teams of the deadline. So we'll see what happens. But for me, the one that I was talking about yesterday in terms of a trade that makes sense is the LA Kings need a goalie and they need one as fast as possible because they're second in the Pacific and they have 3 goalies that have played quite a bit of games for them this year. One of them, Cal Peterson, was so bad that he got sent down on waivers. No one picked him up, and he's in the middle of like a 3 or 4 year contract. That's like 3 or 4 years left at like $5.5 million, sub 800 or sub 900 save percentage. Jonathan Quick also sub 900 save percentage. Their only goalie over 900 save percentage is Phoenix Copley. If you don't know who that is, it's fine. He was Washington backup a long time ago, and he has a 904 save percentage. Fire. So they're dire need of a goalie. And the ones that are available are probably like, as you said, Talbot. But I don't know if that's going to be a thing anymore with the Forsberg injury. But I think if there's a team that's going to go after a player like Vamelka, it's got to be LA. And I think that could work. And I think that should be more of a priority for them than getting a defenseman, if I'm being honest, because I think their decor isn't even bad. But going after a guy like Chychrun, I think they're active in that as well. But I think Vamelka so they got to be hot on that for sure. Or you can also go to Seattle for a goalie because they have like 18 of them. Are they good? Yeah, but
I feel like Arizona always just finds these random goalies and then they just do better than expected there, and then they just trade them for a bunch.
Kemper, Ranta, Vamelka, Ingram. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
They'll get loaded with like 80 shots a game too, so they're nice and ready.
Yeah. It's like a break going to a different team.
Yeah. Especially LA, because LA defensively is actually like really freaking good, which is why they're second even with that horrible goaltending. But yeah, what do you say, Omar?
I'm on the Chikrin watch.
Do you think he's going to Toronto?
I don't think he's going to Toronto.
I think that's a tough squeeze now. With
I don't think he's going to. I don't think I'm not on the watch because I think he's coming to Toronto. I don't think there's any way he's coming to Toronto.
Where do you think he goes though?
I'm interested. I don't know.
That's tough.
It's a tough one. I don't know where he's going to go.
I think a lot of teams are being like shying away from the price now though, because they're going for like cheaper options. Like, I think Boston right now is going after Gavrikov, who's considerably worse defenseman, but they're offering like, I think the trade was a first and a third for Gavrikov, which is a significant overpayment, but the fact that he's getting that much just leaves me in like wonder about what Chikrin is being offered for. Like, it must be way more than that. The fact that they're even willing to offer that for Gavrikov.
Yeah.
Ottawa should just get both guys from Ottawa, Uyghur and Chikrin. Boom. Best defense core ever.
That'd be pretty sick. You got to send Chabot the other way, though, to make the money work.
All right, for the last part of the episode, we're going to get to our head-to-head. So today, I thought we would go topical, like I usually do, and pick someone that we've already talked about.
Okay.
Someone with a large beard, with no visor, who scores 3 goals in Buffalo, who used to play there, Ryan O'Reilly.
Yeah.
2, I'm going with another old geezer. I'm going with a guy who slows down the game, who plays for the best team in the league. We also talked about earlier, David Krejci. So who would you prefer to have on your team right now that you think could help you? Because I know usually we do someone kind of in their prime, but these are 2 guys that maybe have slowed down over a little bit. One's on a significantly better team, one was on a worse team, but now that one's moved to a better team, he's playing a lot better. I think both these guys can contribute at both ends of the rink. I think that, Ryan O'Reilly has that Stanley Cup and Conn Smythe. David Krejci has been, I'd say, pretty consistent for a long time. Ryan O'Reilly is a little bit younger. So, yeah, my question to you guys is, who would you prefer to have on your team, or who do you think is better right now?
I'm going Krejci. I think that O'Reilly is a great trade for Toronto. But I think that he's not necessarily like I would have. For me, O'Reilly is like a middle 6 player. For me, Krejci is a top 6 player, and he still is. And on a lot of teams, I think he'd be a good second line center. I can't really say the same about O'Reilly, but I also think Krejci has like shown this year that he's like still got the playmaking skills that he always has. He has 12 goals, 44 points or something like that, I think. O'Reilly obviously in St. Louis wasn't really producing that well, and then he came to Toronto and produced like more than he did the entire season in one game. But I do think that he is they're both a bit of a product of their environment right now. And for me, I think it's less so prominent for Krejci, and that's why I would go with him. Like, I think Krejci can play with anyone in that top 6 and he'll work. I think O'Reilly may work on like a couple of lines, but he'd be near the bottom of the lineup for me on most of these teams. Whereas Krejci, I think, is a really good top 6 player right now as a playmaker. And yeah.
Omar?
It's a tough one because
You're a Leafs fan?
no, not because I'm a Leafs fan.
Because he hates Boston.
Not even because of that. It's because I think O'Reilly's been better in the last 3-4 years than Krejci.
Krejci was in Czech Republic.
For one of them. Yeah, for one of them he was. But I mean, Krejci's been pretty consistent in terms of averaging, the 40, 45 points kind of thing in the last 3-4 years. And then before that, he was getting
60,
a little bit
70.
more. Like he got 70 in 18-19, 44 again in 17-18, 50s and 60s and 30s, like hovering around between 30 and 60 before that. So, I mean, he's been consistent in that sense, but O'Reilly's in the last 3-4 years, he's hit like 60 points or 58 points, something like that, the last 3-4 years consistently. He was a huge part in the Cup win, obviously, in St. Louis in 2019. He's 4 years younger, I believe. He's like 32 right now. Krejci's late 30s, 36, something like that.
He's like 38 even.
Krejci is 36. Krejci's 36, and O'Reilly is 32, right? 32, yeah. So he's younger by 4 years. This season hasn't gone his way, and Krejci's performing at the 44 points right now. He has it 51 games. So if I'm taking seasons right now, obviously Krejci's having the better season, but he's obviously been on a much better team. Not just better, like much better team compared to St. Louis.
Bro, this is so weird. In the season before Krejci left for Czech Republic, he had 44 points in 51 games. This year, he has 44 points in 51 games.
Wow.
That is unreal.
Yeah. So, you know what? I'll steer towards O'Reilly for 2 reasons. One is
he's on Krejci's on Boston and O'Reilly's on the Leafs.
Let's put that as one, sure. Okay. But the other reasons, one is I do think he's, apart from this season, he's shown in the last few seasons that he can put up more points than Krejci. I do like his presence better in terms of his physicality, sure. I like that better. And I think he's younger. He's younger by 4 years, which is at the age they're at in the 30s. 4 years makes a huge difference from 36 to 32. So I'll take the younger player, even though he's having the worst season right now. I put that more on circumstances or whatever in St. Louis compared to his actual play. So I'll go O'Reilly for those factors.
I can't blame just the circumstances though. Like
you can't. He's having a bad season.
He's one of the reasons why they're having such a bad season.
Yeah, he wasn't playing well. I mean,
19 points in 40 games isn't just like a blip. I think it shows that he's had a significant drop off in play in general, and I think that could be attributed to injuries or whatever. And that's why he's a little maybe not as well versed at playing on his own kind of thing. Where I don't really see any kind of player drop off coming from Krejci. If anything, he's playing better than he has in past years. So if I'm taking someone right now, I'm taking the guy that's performed better.
Yeah, so that's why your argument makes sense. But the reason I'm taking O'Reilly is because yes, Krejci's consistent, but O'Reilly's peak is higher.
Does that peak still exist though?
That's the question, but I'm still going with O'Reilly because he's younger.
Because he's on the Leafs.
And because he's younger, and because I'm taking his 3 seasons before this one into account.
You can take the age into consideration, but for me, 32 is still old, and for hockey.
Yeah.
And he's had like significant enough injuries to like age him faster.
Yeah, but I don't take injuries into account.
Okay.
Because it depends. I'm talking about.
But that's the thing. You're saying that his peak performance, right? But I don't think that exists because he's had enough things to like deter him from that.
Sure, but I'm saying like this is a bad season, and you that's why
a couple of seasons back.
Going with Krejci. Last year wasn't bad, was it? I mean, 58 points, whatever, right?
Yeah, whatever. But the thing is, like
58 points in
it shows a decline in his game. That's what I'm saying.
Well, he had more points than that. He had more points in the 2020 season, 2020-21. That was that was a short one though, right? Yeah. But then he had 61, 77, 61, 55.
I don't care about that far. I don't care about that far.
But career-wise speaking, he's hovered between 50 and 70, right?
And in his career, I think that his peak was definitely higher than Krejci's. For sure.
For points, but only
one
between 50 and 70 is his average over his career. And he's this season he's off it obviously, but last season he was there again, 58 points. Like so he was in
78 games.
But he was on his average. It's not like Krejci's getting 80 points in 78 games. Right?
Krejci's before that was 44 points in 51 games, which on pace for that's above 70.
Yeah.
And this year he's on pace for more than 70 again.
Yeah, but that's why I take the team factor into consideration. Like St. Louis compared to Boston this year.
St. Louis still had offensive weapons for O'Reilly to produce. The team sucked
this year, but
yeah.
but the like a lot of their players are still there. Like he still has players to play with that aren't bad.
I would like to interject here. I was speaking with someone who knows him quite well, and one of his consistent line mates the whole year when he was playing was Josh Lievo.
This year?
Yeah, I'm just going to throw that out there.
For
why?
Yeah.
That's my question though. Why is he on the third line in St. Louis? Right?
Because you have Robert Thomas and Shen as well.
But then he's not better than those players though. And then you put him in Toronto. It's the same situation where he's stuck on the third line again. I think that speaks more to his.
No, you can put him on the first line. Apparently, scores 4 points.
But that speaks more to his skill level right now than anything else. I think Krejci is a better player, like just in general, right now than Ryan O'Reilly is. If I'm just speaking right now.
But everyone on Boston this year is benefiting from how good they are. Like they're a historically good team.
The team factor is pretty huge.
Like
he's still performing exactly the same as he did 3 years ago, though.
But if you like, so, I'm like, I know you hate this argument, but if you swap them around,
I don't think O'Reilly would do the same.
I think it'd be a whole hell of a lot closer.
I don't know if it would be 44 points, 51 games.
He hasn't been on that, not unreasonable.
But he hasn't been on that pace for like 3 or 4 years. Like, and the thing is, Krejci. I think Krejci is just like a better overall offensive player than O'Reilly is.
Whereas, but I don't think that's O'Reilly's game. He's not.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
Offensive guy.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't think that his defensive ability, like aside from like face-off ability, I think they're both like exactly the same. But defensively, I don't see O'Reilly as like significantly better than Krejci for me to not take into the fact that Krejci produces like more, especially right now. If I'm taking someone right now, it would be Krejci. And playoff performance-wise, he's been elite his entire career.
Conn Smythe winner, Ryan O'Reilly.
Conn Smythe winner, true.
Can't argue that.
He's had the Bergeron blockage his whole career.
No, yeah, I'll go. Well, I'm going O'Reilly right now.
He's going O'Reilly because he has someone that knows him.
You going O'Reilly?
I think Krejci, I agree, is having a better season.
Yeah,
but I do think. Well, I do think that Boston is like ridiculously good.
Team factors, bro.
And I think Ryan O'Reilly, has had injury problems this year, and his typical line mates were not very good. So now that he's playing with good players similar to what Krejci is, I think it's really close, and I think that O'Reilly is a better 200-foot player. So
I agree.
So that's my
arguable on that part. I don't think he's that much better defensively than Krejci.
I didn't say he was
not that much, but I do think he's better.
And regardless, like last year, he like was playing in a top 6 role, and he produced like an average rate. Whereas Krejci, 2 years ago when Boston wasn't by far the best team in the league, produced the exact same as he is now.
So 2 years ago. Now he's older. You don't think it's a coincidence that he's kept it up with a
not
way
really
better team?
The way he's played. Like if you watch him play, it's the same. Like he's playing pretty much the exact same way.
Insane this season.
That was like Spezza on the bad Ottawa, going to Dallas.
You can
scoring 30
You can
goals
discredit
again.
any player for just being on a good team. Like if that's
but I just don't think that Krejci would perform the same if he was on a worse team. You know, like he's not one of those. He's not.
I don't think O'Reilly would perform that much better on a better team.
Well, we're gonna see.
Apparently, he is.
Yeah, we're gonna see.
He's already has more than a quarter of his points that he had earlier this season in one team on 3 games.
I mean that's the thing that's up to see.
That's my thing. If we come playoff time, I'm taking Krejci. That's the thing. I think he's going to be a way more impactful.
He was
player.
top 10 in goals.
Yes.
I
think impact wise in the playoffs, I think Krejci is going to have a bigger impact.
No, see, I do think it's important to mention that playoff wise, it's not even close. So playoff wise, Ryan O'Reilly has 64 games played and 56 points. So I mean, not bad for them on a game.
Well, add another like 5 games onto it this year, and then
yeah. And Krejci has 156 games played in the playoffs, and he has 124 points in the playoffs. So obviously, playoff wise, it's not close, and that does obviously come down to the team. You know,
look at the runs though, bro. Like in the 23 points in 25 games, 12 goals in that playoffs, 26 points in 22 games, 10 points in 12 games, 16 and 24, like, and 12 and 13, 9 and 11. Like he's produced everything. He's been a big game player for them pretty much his entire career.
Yeah, so 20. So but it's also fair to mention that O'Reilly in the Cup run in 26 games had 23 points, right? So
yeah, I do also feel bad for O'Reilly in the sense of like Krejci's been on one of the most successful teams over the past 15 years,
Yeah.
where O'Reilly was on the
Buffalo.
awful Colorado team, the awful
Yeah.
Buffalo teams. So it's like, finally, when he was on a better team, he could really like spread his wings, and maybe that means he's like a bit of a product of his environment. But I would say Krejci probably is as well. But I think like even going to Toronto this year, I wouldn't be shocked if Ryan O'Reilly did put up way better numbers for the rest of the season, and in the playoffs was one of their leading scorers.
I mean, I
It
think he
depends
will
on where
just
he
because of the
plays,
team
though.
he's on, right?
It just depends on where he plays.
Yeah, well, he's going
I
to
don't
be.
think he's not gonna be on the first power play in the playoffs.
He's not on the first one right now either.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's not on
But
the
that
first
second power play unit's better with him on it than when it was before.
I mean, sure, but they're gonna get like 30 That's why, like, I don't really pay that much attention to the second power plays. They
Claude Giroux's on the second power play.
yeah, but Ottawa usually runs them fairly evenly. At least it was like
No.
Montreal's power play last year, but. Regardless, like I don't see a 5-on-5 him play. Like you guys are saying that he's not even going to be in the top 6, so like I don't really see him producing that much more.
I didn't say he was going to be in the top 6. I said they have good center depth because he's a center.
Well, I think
He's
personally it
the
makes
third
more
best
sense to
center on
put him
that
on the third line.
Yeah,
On the like he should
Well,
be
see,
he should be on the he should
if he was
be
playing,
centering the third
if he was
line.
playing like with Josh Levio, and now he's going to be playing with friggin' Engvall, like I don't think he's going to be producing that much.
I think they'll probably do like this is what I would do. Not that I'm an NHL head coach or anything, but I would pick pairs, have like Marner, Matthews, Tavares, Nylander, Bunting, O'Reilly, just as an example. You could do Nylander and
That's
O'Reilly. You could do Bunting and Matthews. It doesn't really matter.
If there's someone that's a product
But
of his
then they
environment,
put-
it's Bunting.
Then they put like a Kerfoot, Jarnkrok, and Acciari on one of those lines each, and then you have two guys that can hopefully run or like create more offense than anyone else. If you have Marner, Matthews, and Nylander, let's say all on different lines, for example, and then you have good center depth down the middle, winning you hopefully more faceoffs than not. And then you have a guy like Bunting that can crash net. You have a guy like Jarnkrok who has a decent shot. And then you have Kerfoot who's
A player. But I don't know. It's Bunting O'Reilly would be concerning.
It was just an example.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
picked
but it's like,
two.
but I don't know. It really just depends on where they put O'Reilly for that to be like a thing for me. But regardless, I think Krejci is just going to be a more impactful player in the playoffs.
Well, he's
for
on
me.
a way better team. So
He's on a bit
And like that's just going to be a trump for you guys. Always have this one thing that
yeah,
hasn't done.
how we have to
Well,
find
that's gonna
something
have
to
back,
argue.
bro.
We're not just gonna be like,
Well,
oh
the
no,
team's
you're
good.
right, you got me.
The team's good, so the player sucks. Like, oh
It's like the Backstrom Ovechkin.
yeah, the team's good, but the player. I look at the player individually,
I'm quite.
and I don't really like. Oh, he's gonna be. If he's
So
on
who's a
this
better
team-
ball hockey player, me or Omar?
I plead the fifth.
He's played more games.
Yeah,
Have I?
I think so. He played one more. Wait, how many have you
I'm doing a
played?
head-to-head between us two now.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Who's better? Who cares? Like,
No, you.
neither I picked Jacob.
Okay.
There we go.
Sure.
All
Yeah, that's fair.
right.
All right. Anything else you guys wanted to add? Talk about
Well, I guess
your lives, Ali.
O'Reilly wins this one, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I guess
Get dunked on, little man.
we'll see what the people pick. Oh, it's gonna be O'Reilly again, bro. Oh, damn Leafs fans. Oh,
Thanks, guys, for the Tavares win. That was great on TikTok and Instagram. I believe he won on both. Did he?
but do you know what's funny? When I put will the Leafs make it past the first round question, that was still
I mean,
Yeah.
I think even Leafs fans aren't answer that
Yeah.
realistically now.
Well, thank you
Yeah.
everyone for tuning in. This is our first podcast brought to you by Betstamp, so thank you to them as well. Make sure to download the app with the code Diehards and check it out. Yeah, it's really good if you are a sports bettor. I want to get into it and finding the best odds you can make the most money as possible. And yeah, we will talk to you very soon. There's a lot of trades that'll probably be coming up. And anything else, lads?
Take care. We'll see you next time.
And check us out on
YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Sirius XM, and yeah,
and then TikTok, Twitter, at
Instagram.
Unfortunate Diehards.
Yeah.
So we shall see you next time. Have a good one.